especially because Venezuela was a major oil supplier to the United States. Tensions began to grow when Hugo Chavez became president in 1999, promoting socialist, anti-US policies, forging alliances with Cuba, Iran, and Russia, and vocally opposing U.S. foreign interventions. Chavez also accused the U.S. of involvement in a 2002 coup attempt against him, a claim that entrenched mistrust. By the time Nicolas Maduro succeeded Chavez in 2013, relations had deteriorated further. The U.S. criticized Venezuela for human rights abuses, authoritarian practices, and electoral disputes, and tensions deepened over disputes about democratic legitimacy. Escalation, sanctions, accusations, and military pressure, 2019 to 2025. Under both Democratic and Republican U.S. administrations, Washington imposed sanctions on Venezuelan officials and its state oil company, PDVSA, aiming to pressure the Maduro government economically. The U.S. repeatedly accused Maduro of corruption, repression, and illicit activity, especially alleged involvement with drug trafficking organizations like the so-called Cartel de los Soles. These accusations were central to U.S. legal charges and public justification for pressure. India today. Relations turned sharply militarized in 2025. The U.S. carried out a series of maritime and air strikes against vessels it said were linked to drug smuggling, seizing Venezuelan oil tankers and expanding military presence in the Caribbean. Venezuela condemned these actions as violations of its sovereignty and illegal aggression. Diplomatically at the United Nations, Venezuela accused the U.S. of launching what it called a crime of aggression, claiming Washington sought control over Venezuelan oil, land, and minerals through coercive force. In a dramatic escalation, the United States launched a large-scale military operation in Venezuela on January 3, 2026, dubbed Operation Absolute Resolve. U.S. Special Forces struck targets in and around Caracas and successfully captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores. The U.S. transported Maduro to the United States to face criminal charges, including allegations of narco-terrorism and involvement in transnational crime, claims Maduro and his supporters deny. The Trump administration framed the mission as a law enforcement action tied to those indictments and part of broader efforts to remove a destabilizing regime. Critics, inside and outside the U.S., argued the operation likely violated international law and lacked legal authorization, stirring sharp controversy. Following Maduro's capture, Delcy Rodriguez, Venezuela's vice president, has been named interim president by the Venezuelan government, which continues to reject the U.S. intervention. The Washington Post. The United States announced plans to oversee a transitional process, with some Trump officials suggesting eventual reconstruction and economic involvement. New York Post. Critics warn that the intervention could destabilize the region, provoke political violence within Venezuela, and set a contentious precedent for U.S. actions abroad. The U.S. Venezuela crisis reflects deeper conflicts over sovereignty, ideology, resources, especially oil, and regional security. While the capture of Maduro is an unprecedented escalation, it arises from decades of mistrust, geopolitical competition, and long-standing disagreements over governance and human rights in Venezuela.